Hey, I recording this video on Monday, the 12th of June, 2017. Do hope you are doing well. Apologies, I didn't put out a video this last weekend. I was going to, had some things recorded, want to talk about Friday's trade and particularly triples, but we had this great little swell kind of come through over the weekend. Punchy swell, offshore breezes, really nice weather, and I ended up spending most of Saturday and Sunday in the water. So didn't have any time to produce a video. And then this morning, I got an email from Michael D. actually talking about the topic I wanted to talk about in that video, which is triples. So I'm going to talk about that email and triples and try and run through the trade from Friday and then look at what has happened in the intervening time. Triples are really important. Triples are when we get support and resistances kind of come together in 3 time frames at the same time. I like them when they're really kind of close and tight together, and big things happen at triples. We either get breaks of those support or resistance levels into trending moves, or the support and resistance levels hold and we get big reversals. So triples are really important. It's when everything kind of comes together, and the biggest move comes when everything's kind of lining up when you're talking about cycles. So Michael sent me this email that I got this morning. Hello, Barry. I was wondering if you had any advice regarding what I call runaway days. This is when aligned resistance or support levels on 3 time frames give way and the volume indicators are contradictory. For example, despite bearish volume indicators and 3 aligned resistance levels, and the market plows through them and keeps going up. From your experience, is there a good way of avoiding getting suckered into these trades, or do you just have to accept that it's going to happen every now and then and take a 4-point loss? Thanks, Barry. So, got a slightly different interpretation from these volume indicators that are contradictory here than Michael. I'm going to talk about, I think Michael is actually talking about Friday's trade. So I'm going to show you this on the multiple time frame system view of the chart. It's a 500 tip bar chart with all 3 time frames on it, and I'm going to go back and show you what was happening on Friday's trade. Friday, if you'll remember, was the big FANG day where we had all the tech stocks reach, important highs, $1,000 on Amazon and so on, and then they just kind of fell away, and we had a big kind of move, particularly on the NASDAQ index. But it was preceded by a really nice kind of breakout move on a triple. So this is the beginning of the day on Friday. This is about 8:30 in the morning, Chicago time, and we get a triple kind of lining up. You can see here we've got resistance on the highest time frame, on the intermediate time frame, and on the lowest time frame. They're all different thicknesses. The thickest lines are the highest time frame, the thinnest lines are the lowest time frames. And there is a triple. All 3 kind of lining up really kind of close, tight together, and we're looking for either a break or a reversal at that point. Now, Michael's saying that he thinks this volume divergence pattern, I'm assuming, is a bearish signal, because we've got exhaustion buy and bearish divergence comes in, a little bit of weakness, then we come back up to that triple, and you can see it line up again, resistance, resistance, resistance on all 3 time frames, and it breaks to the upside. I actually don't think that is a bearish signal on volume there. Remember that we're coming back up to the top of this channel that we've been in, and we get an exhaustion pattern. You don't see exhaustion patterns as bearish when they're at the top of channels. That shows that the volume is buying in anticipation of a breakout. We get bearish volume signals come in when we have a spike here to like a left shoulder or something like that. This volume that was anxious to get in at the open then gets dumped here with profit taking 10 points higher. So that is, for me, is not a bearish signal. That is actually showing breakout volume. We had blue professional bars at the highs here right after the open, whole bunch of buying going on. They were anxious to buy, and just because we had a little bit of weakness, that was just testing in. I think when we went to the lowest time frames, there were some little Rambo patterns showing the amateurs were going short at that point. We come back up to the triple, we break through it, bang, into a nice little trending move that then ends with exhaustion buy and bearish divergence. So I don't read that as a bearish volume signal, because it's the top of a channel. We normally see exhaustion sells, exhaustion buys happening on spikes to like new highs out of a channel to new lows out of a channel. Michael, that's my answer to you. I don't agree with necessarily what you're saying here with the volume indicators showing contradictory to a breakout. I actually see that as bullish, and that's when we get this move kind of lining up with a nice kind of triple to the upside. If I'm wrong and that's not the trade that you're talking about, do let me know. Kind of email me back and tell me that you were looking at a different trade, but I think that was the one you're kind of referring to there. So that was a nice little triple, but we see them lining up all of the time. So I'm just going to roll through the 500 tip bar chart and then the 4500 tip bar chart and show you some more kind of triples kind of going on. So after this kind of big move, exhaustion by bearish divergence, we start breaking supports on the way down, and we start into a downtrending move signaled by the white bars kind of going on here. You maybe could view this as a triple kind of going on here with supports. We've got the highest time frame, the intermediate, and the lowest time frame all lining up at the same time, being broken on the downside. That is kind of technically a triple, but I like the levels to be closer, tighter together than that. That just shows for me as kind of a continuation of this downtrending move. Because we've broken this highest time frame, this is going to travel quite a ways, because we're not going to find support until we have an exhaustion sell signal or another support on the highest time frame kind of come in. So not, for me, not a kind of a classic kind of triple signal here, because they're not kind of tight together. But notice that the bearish divergence signal then leads to all the way down here, exhaustion sell and bullish divergence. Just from here to here, you could almost trade based on those signals alone, with those exhaustion buys, bearish divergence into exhaustion sell, bullish divergence kind of coming in here. So when's the next time we see a nice little triple kind of lining up? Well, here's another one here leading into this trade. This is our pullback to end of trend. So on this big downtrending move on the Monday, we had to test back up and kind of back down again. We come into the pullback resistance level. We've got intermediate level resistance coming in there, and behind all of those white bars here, we've got we've got lowest time frame resistance. So we've got a triple all happening there. Let me see. There we go. So there's SR1, 2, and 3. So that's support resistance on the low, intermediate, and highest time frame at 29.25, 28.25, and 29, all happening really close and tight together. Then here we've got an exhaustion buy, bearish divergence signal, and then bang, that rolls over. Interpretation of the volume signals here, this is the exhaustion sell going on at this point here. That exhaustion buy is short covering rally. So all of the volume that was short here all of a sudden gets shaken out as soon as we kind of start breaking up above kind of trailing stops that are going down here. We get an exhaustion signal on the way up, and that is short covering rally. And then we keep on going up until we find exhaustion buy again, and then we roll over into this pattern here. So there was a nice one kind of coming into here. We still had more weakness to go through on the way down here into Monday's trade. That's kind of a triple as well. Resistance, resistance, resistance. They're not kind of close together, but everything's kind of lining up at that point, and then we break to the downside. With these little plays down here and here, I think we've overshot the support and resistance a little too much on the highest time frame, so don't kind of consider those classic kind of triples. But we actually do have one happening here at the end of today. Today's activities. So Monday, the end of Monday's trade going into kind of the overnight activity into Tuesday's trade. Here's kind of a triple lining up here with resistance on the highest time frame, intermediate and lowest time frame. We've got all this strength kind of going on prior to that. We've put in our exhaustion sell and bullish divergence kind of down here. This is kind of getting the move going, and we're breaking to new highs here. So all of a sudden, this is all this strength with these exhaustion buy signals into the end of trade on Monday, and continuation, I think, probably overnight, and kind of see where this goes. Little interpretation or required at the end of the day when it comes to this. Let me show you. That's the close of Monday's trade. You've got to be careful with these exhaustion patterns at the end of the day, and all the blue professional bars that you tend to get at the end of the day. It's a little bit kind of difficult to interpret what's going on, but certainly all this strength with the red bars here leading to this break of a triple resistances into a continuation of this uptrend is kind of looking good. So that's some triples on the lowest time frame. We can also look at them on one of the highest time frames. So for looking at real kind of swing trading moves, I'd move it up to a 4500 tip bar chart. Again, using the multiple time frames, that's 3 time frames all in one. And we can look at some of these support and resistances kind of come in here. Let's look at this one here. So we get back in late May, we've got triples happening here. So resistance on the highest time frame, on the intermediate time frame, and the lowest time frame. And we had quite a lot of weakness into this sell-off here. Ended up with exhaustion, sell, and bullish divergence. But look, the price patterns are all showing strength with all these red bars. We've got resistances here, and we've got volume behind us as we've had a sell-off and bullish divergence kind of come in. So when that takes off, big things happen, take off with a triple break here, bang into a nice kind of trending move that ends with exhaustion buy and bearish divergence kind of up here. So that's another nice one kind of going on here. Here's another one that set off nicely. Whole bunch of, this is the beginning of June, a whole bunch of end of trend and resistance patterns kind of coming together. So we've got intermediately high time frame, low time frame, all kind of coming together here. The shock of selling down there, that exhaustion selling pattern down here is showing the anxiousness to get on board a kind of downtrending move, and that travels a little bit, not too far. And then we start setting up for, again, more kind of triples here at this point here where the market's still showing strength, and we go for that runaway last move. And then with today's activity, you can see here with the end of today's activity, we had the strength certainly on the lowest time frame charts, breaking above resistances here on these low time frame charts. Well, on the high time frame chart, that whole activity was all happening around a triple. Highest time frame, lowest time frame, intermediate time frame, all happening around this 2420 level, and all of a sudden that holds and we start breaking up into a big kind of trending move on the lowest time frame. So there we go. I mean, the triple kind of pattern works because you should always be trading in sync with the highest time frame, and when all those cycles kind of line up together, that's when you get kind of the biggest moves. So that's why I like triples. When you're looking for, when they pop up on the charts, you'll see them. The market will kind of stutter for a bit around those levels, and it'll decide what to do. Either we get a break through them, into a big kind of trending move, or they'll hold and we'll get a big kind of reversal move away from those support or resistance levels. So there we go. I hope I've got the interpretation of Michael's email right. I hope I've got kind of the right day and the right kind of trade for that. But that's how I was kind of looking at the market during that breakaway move. I'll actually tag on my day trade from that Friday to show you what I was thinking. I was kind of long 35.5 out at 41 for 5.5. It was good for another couple of points, and I kind of lost my bottle a little bit in terms of taking all that money out. But it was good for 5.5, so I've got to be happy with that. Anyway, so I hope your trading is going well, and looking forward to the next couple of days. Okay, just got long 35.50, long 35.50. Show my stops and targets. And it was a Friday. We have rolled over. We've got new contract, September contract. And so the chart's a little bit funky looking because using the continuous contract. So Friday's data is a little bit kind of messed up here. Anyway, we had a triple earlier on. I was just looking at it. Big things happen with triples, big breaks, big reversals. So that was our triple at resistance just after the open blue professional bars. And it was looking like it wanted to go and wanted to go. And then we had some weakness and we're back at it. And I've jumped in because this was strong reading. Strong buying into this. That was a Rambo patterns amateur kind of going short here. Support holding on the 1500 tip bar chart. And it's kind of a little bit like a gathering pattern, but if it was, it would have kind of punched through almost straight away. We're coming up to it. Anyway, so pushing through these resistance on these two kind of higher time frames, that could be a kind of a biggish move. And Fridays tend to be rangy days. They also tend to be up days. A little bit of bias to the upside at least. Anyway, let's see if we get the breakout. It's kind of quieting down. Don't know why we're quiet. There's no kind of news, nothing much coming up till wholesale trade at 9, which I don't think is going to be a big deal. But anyway, let's see. Breaking through these 36s back up, we might get a little bit of action. So let's see what happens next. All right, here we go. Getting the break. This blue professional bar is kind of going up through resistance. Let's kind of jump in the creek. Put 37s. Bearish divergence come in, bearish divergence also come in here on the 500 tip bar chart. This needs to kind of keep going, so this isn't just kind of a roll around situation where you head kind of back down. This has got a real kind of breakaway, breaking one time frame at least from this weakness, but it's got to keep going. It is testing kind of previous highs around here. Data is a bit messed up, so this is the open today on Friday. That's the overnight session. This is Thursday's activity on this September contract, and so it just looks a bit funky, but it's still kind of a valid kind of previous high kind of up here, that 36.75 level. So this really needs to continue, just not to roll around at that bearish divergence, because this then would show that's the initial strength, getting this move going, that then needs to be dumped off at a higher level rather than being the exhaustion play and rolling over. So come on. Rainbow patterns, no blue professional bars taking profits. So see what happens next. Alright, got ourselves a triple. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Breaking through. Big things happen at triples. There they are. Bang, bang, bang. One of those levels. 37, even 37 1/4, 36. And looks like we're going to get ourselves a nice break, trending move. Come on, yeah, there we go. Pretty anxious to get it there. And we should be away at the races. Alright, movement target out to 41.50. Here we go, blue professional bars exhaust through resistance. That's jumping the creek. Blue professional bar, there we go. This thing gets going. Should be looking for another kind of exhaustion read. This wasn't big. This one was only 5.6. So you should be looking for like an 8,000 read. Pull back under trends, all that good stuff. So got ourselves a double break here. It's always confirmed uptrend the whole time. So come along. Well, we got within a hair's breadth of the initial target, 39.5. We had a U-turn at 1500. So yeah, kind of weird. Still got to go pull back under trend on the 500. This is a proper break. That's the amount of selling that was going on. So that's a shame. It's 9 AM. We got this wholesale trade number come out. And it's weakened quite a lot from that high. 2 points. So yeah. Well, let's keep holding. Okay, there we go. Original target 39.5 just got hit. It's led by the amateurs, Rambo pans, Rambo on the intermediate time frame. It's not shown as Rambo as MTF, that's okay. Here we got these triple resistances you can see here, that's why we're breaking. So my target's been moved out 41.50. That's what I'm looking for that exhaustion pattern on 1500. And this is going to go pull back under trend at some point on 5. So, see what happens next. The other thing to look for is blue professional up bar on 4500. Before this thing's all over, but let's just see. I am so tempted right now to move my target out. Sitting at 41.50. We've got a 6,000 read on the 1500 tip bar chart. No blue professional bars here or here. Not even a pullback to end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart. It's creeping up nicely and just kind of goes slack. So maybe I'll just leave it at 41.50. 9,000 read. So, but no blue professional bars. Alright, bingo, just out. 41 even. And that's for 5.5. And 4150 got touched. Didn't get taken out. It's just quite a lot of selling kind of coming out. We're going to come back up to 4150. Should have left it where it is. I'm no good at holding through. But blue professional up bar on the 4500 tip bar chart. We've had our exhaustion buy kind of here. End of trend gone off on 500. I suppose we may go pull back end of trend on 1500 because we traveled past resistance here on the other time frame. I'm going to watch 4150 get hit right now. Anyway, just lost my bottle there. That was okay. So it was a triple break. Let's see, when I wake up in the morning, check my charts, see how far this trendy move kind of traveled, but it was a triple break. Big things happen like triples. And yeah, we rushed away to the races. It was quite nice. So let's see if that's just going to get hit. Yeah, there, it's getting hit again. An easy extra half point. Why didn't I just like do nothing? But anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, so 9:24 a.m. took a little bit of a while, but we got there eventually.